Hello, welcome to another episode of Combs Teeny Tiny Town. Today I'll be talking about my brand new HO scale Walthers Proto Gunderson rebuilt all-purpose 40-foot well cars. Now these well cars are an important component of any modern day railroad layout. Container shipping is of course the way to go if you want to have a very modern kind of layout. And these nice Walthers Proto cars, I think, would be a great addition to any layout. I really like the ones that I've purchased, but I thought what I might do today is look at them in a little bit more detail and also compare them to cars that I had previously purchased, Walthers mainline Thrall rebuilt all-purpose container cars. Okay, so very similar in a lot of ways, but very different in a couple of ways. Okay, so without further ado, we'll get into the unboxing. Okay, so here you can see I've removed the plastic insert from the outer cardboard box. And like all things these days, it's got a sort of a friction, these kind of friction tabs holding in the plastic over top of the car to protect it. It actually has some plastic pieces that are in there to hold the wheels in place so they don't move around, which is a nice touch, I guess, for shipping. And of course, wrapped in plastic. Now, included in the package, as you can see here, it says, "Thanks for purchasing this undecorated Walthers Proto freight car." So these are actually the instructions or the parts list for the undecorated model, which is fine. I mean, I obviously didn't buy the undecorated one, but you still get a sense of what's included here, and they give you some detailed instructions about how to attach and glue in the various small pieces. But what I received is fully assembled and ready to roll. All you need to do is take it out of the packaging here, remove the plastic protectors from the wheel sets, and you are ready to go. So let's take a look at how this looks on the layout. All right, so here it is. This is actually a different version of the same model. This is the exact same Walthers Proto Gunderson all-purpose 40-foot rebuilt well car, but this is in a, as you can see, it's got the patched TTX logo. So this is not the one that I was showing you in the box a moment ago. This is one that I had unpackaged previously. So as you can see, it's got some nice detail to it, very nice, clear, sharp lettering overall. But what I thought I could do is just take a look at how this stacks up with the Walthers mainline Thrall version. Okay, so I'm just going to pull this forward here. So this is the earlier Thrall rebuilt 40-foot well car. And as you can see, also a very nice looking model. The lettering is nice, sharp. This is, again, a slightly different variation of the TTX logo. But again, it includes a lot of the same features, same wheel sets, the same Proto Max knuckle couplers, which incidentally, in my opinion, are not really great. So it would have been nice if the Proto version had something a little bit nicer, like a KD coupler. But of course, these things can be upgraded. But overall, both are really nice models, and I have, I think, 6 of the mainline Thrall units. But the Gunderson ones, I think, are just slightly nicer in a few ways that I will point out in a moment. I'm just going to take the phone off the holder here, the camera off the holder, and give you a little bit of a close-up comparison of the two models. All right, so here I've got the camera off the stand, and I'm just giving a little bit of a pan across the model. So this is the Gunderson rebuilt 40-foot container. As you can see, lots of really nice sharp lettering here, which I'll try to sort of zoom in a little bit on. Okay, but what I think the main distinctions between the Proto and the mainline units, I would say there's 2 things. So first of all, look at the metal I believe these are metal etched walkways on both ends of the car. Very nice detail. You can see nicely through them. They look thin. They look much more prototypical. Now, if we look at the Thrall one here, just a little bit more clunky. The walkways aren't quite as transparent. They look a little bit cheaper, more plasticky, I guess. So again, I would think that's one major distinction. Now, the other distinction I would draw your attention to is the hand or factory applied grab irons on the end here. So I'll try to get in there. You can see at the very end there, you can see there's a factory applied grab iron there. There's one that's horizontal, one that's vertical. Whereas on the Walthers mainline unit, it's just all molded plastic, right? So again, it's a small detail, but otherwise these models I think would look fine side by side on the same layout. Okay, so just a slight upgrade in terms of the factory applied grab irons, the etched walkways. Now the interior unit of the unit rather is, of course, it's a different design, the Gunderson versus the Thrall. But again, similar detailing here on the air tanks, the hoses, etc. This is on the mainline unit. And over here, again, some nice detail on some of those kinds of features, the air tanks and so forth. Okay, you can kind of, it's a little bit obscured under the walkway there, but on the whole, I would say comparable, but with just a little bit more detail overall on the Proto as opposed to the mainline Walthers unit. Okay, so in terms of operation, these cars, as I said, would be a great addition to any modern model railroad. Container shipping, of course, is very much the bread and butter of modern day railroading. Now, the 40-foot containers are great because, of course, you can load them up single stacked or double stacked. You can use, as I've done here, two 20-foot containers. Okay, and you could, of course, stack it higher if you wanted. And these containers are also designed to fit as a second stack on top, the 53-foot container. So in this case, I've got a 40-foot container on the bottom stacked up with the 53-footer on the top. And as you can see, the 40-foot car is able to accommodate both. So of course you can mix it up, you can stack it up in different ways, and walking away from the camera here just to give you a complete view here. Okay, and here you go. Here you got your two standard 40-foot containers, one high cube and then one I think is more of a low cube container. So again, there's lots of different ways you can vary your layout with these cars. So I ended up purchasing one of each type. There was about, I believe, 5 different variations in terms of the logo. This is the patched version, as I mentioned, but there's a newer version in the black lettering, and there's several other variations as well as this particular one here. So overall, I would say I'm very happy with these cars. They're a bit more expensive than the Walthers mainline units, the Thrall ones, but these units have just a little bit more detail, and they're just a little bit more expensive. And I would recommend, if you haven't already got a few of these for your layout, I would say go ahead and do so. The other great thing about them is I have a small layout, and these navigate the tight 18-inch radius turns very nicely. So these can be used on pretty much any layout, whereas the larger 53-foot cars are not always suitable for a smaller layout with tighter curves. So this allows you to modernize your layout, but still utilize a small space. Okay, so all in all, I'd recommend checking these out. The one downside I would say is the couplers are not great. I would recommend upgrading those to a Katy coupler or a coupler that you prefer, but I like the Cadies. They're nice, they're smooth, they work well. These ones tend to stick and they don't always work so great right out of the box. But other than that, I would say a great purchase. I'm glad I got a fleet of 5 of them, and these will actually work nicely with my existing Walthers mainline Thrall rebuilt 40-foot units. So again, just adding a little bit of variation. All right, keep on railroading, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time on Combs Teeny Tiny Town.